Taped from New Jersey, it's the SNL Nerds, the show where two comics from New Jersey nerd out about Saturday Night Live. I'm your co-host, Darren Patterson.
And I'm your co-host, John Trumbull.
Oh, is that how I sound now? I sound
That's kind of how you sounded, yeah.
Staccato?
Yeah, it was getting a little Shatnerian, and I just had to, poke you about it.
I hear you. I don't know why I just go straight to Shatner whenever I try to spice up these intros and shake things up. That's just a default.
Look, I am the last person in the world who will ever criticize someone for going Shatner. Okay? There is not enough Shatner in the world for my money. I think my record bears this out.
Yes. I mean, I don't go full Shatner because I don't think I have the chops to do that. But I try to get as close to Shatnerian as I possibly can without going.
I mean, that's all we're really doing at the end of the day. I mean, that's all any of us can do is try to get as close to Shatnerian as we can achieve.
Yes. We're all trying to find the inner Shatner within us all.
Exactly. Right? That's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
Find your inner Shatner. Hashtag find your inner Shatner.
Yes, find your inner Shatner. Exactly. And there's no way to segue through this. So speaking of William Shatner,
speaking of great thespians,
the SNL put out the host and musical guest for their next show on October 28th, and I gotta say, the musical guest, that was expected. Like I kind of saw that coming. The host, I did not see coming.
Yeah, outside the box choice.
Very much so. Very much so.
Yeah, we're seeing some interesting hosting choices, since the SAG after strike is still going on as of this recording.
Yeah.
I think they've agreed that they're going to meet again on the 24th, which will be Tuesday.
Yes.
So, I mean, hopefully they'll come to a resolution of some kind. That would be nice.
Hopefully. People really want this to resolve as soon as possible. I think we're on day 100 or so.
Yeah, we just passed day 100.
Yeah, and people are like, let's get this thing wrapped up. Let's it's been too long. Let's keep this train moving all night long.
Yeah, so, we've got content to generate, people. Come on, let's stop messing around here. But in the meantime, SNL, they've still got shows to put out. They've still got hosts and musical guest slots to fill. So who'd they get for next week?
Musical guest, the Foo Fighters, which is not surprising. Foo Fighters I think this will be like the 9th time they've done the show or something. They're
nice.
They're one of their go-to bands. I'm sure they'll rock it and kick ass.
Yeah, I mean, I find that interesting in that this is, I think, their first big appearance since the death of Traylor Hawkins.
Yes, absolutely. So this will be.
And I wasn't even certain if the band was going to continue on without him.
No, he's been a drummer since their second album, if I'm The Color and the Shape, if I'm not mistaken. He was a mainstay. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm sure they're going to do some type of dedication to him on the show.
Yeah, that would be nice. And I mean, I'm excited just because it's as a Gen Xer, I'm like, hey, it's a musical guest I know. Yay!
I remember the Foo.
Yeah, now we'll show the youngins what the rock and roll's really all about.
That's
yes.
Right.
I was but that was my first reaction. I was like, oh, it's time for the Gen X musical guest already?
Yeah, right. Hot damn.
We seem to have one or two of these nostalgia type slots in a season where it's, they book somebody for the olds. And
yes.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah, but the guest host really came out of left field. Guest hosting the October 28th show, Nate Bargatze.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, I know who he is and you know who he is because we're both stand-up comedy nerds.
Yes.
But I can't tell you.
Some even say we are stand-up comics ourselves.
Yes. Oh yeah, that's right. We do.
I mean, not many people, but
not at all. No. But
not people who've come to our shows, but
no. I've read the comment cards.
Yes.
But Nate Bargatze, stand-up comedian. He is somebody who I know he's from the South, he's from Nashville, I believe, which is the same town that Jay and Austin Johnson is from. But even though he's from the South, he's a comic who got his start in New York City because I remember
New York City.
yeah, the Windy Apple. Because
I'm sorry, I just went into a salsa commercial for a second there.
okay. Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Very nice. But yeah, because like I remember seeing him around in Manhattan doing shows and like getting spots and like building a name for himself. But it's weird because like after he left New York City, he became like a bigger name and a bigger draw, like
Hmm.
touring the Midwest and the South, and like up to the point now where he has his own like production company and he's like his own YouTube channel where he's putting out comics under his umbrella. He was nominated for a Grammy, and like if you look at his tour dates on his website, he's my man is playing like theaters and arenas. He's not playing like the Chuckle Hut in Chattanooga or nothing. Like
Right.
he's a big deal in a lot of like the Midwest and the South. But I still see online on Twitter, a lot of people are like, "Who's Bargat? Who is this? I've never even heard this guy before."
Yeah,
So
sure.
it is really interesting to see that. It's like kind of like Gerard Carmichael and Bill Burr all over again. Like when they got to host, there were so many people who had no idea who they were.
Yeah, I mean, and I like that. I like that SNL gives hosting slots to stand-ups who are maybe just about to break through on the mainstream to get to like household names status. Not that they're unknown now. I mean, because
Right.
yeah,
It's
somebody on Twitter, and I don't have this tweet up right now, so I can't remember who exactly it was like, oh, is this like the least known or the least famous SNL host? And and I instantly flash back to like when Matthew Modine hosted in like around 87, 88,
oh
and
wow.
he literally came out and he was like, oh, well, thank you for that applause, considering none of you know who I am. Because like, he was a working actor then.
Mm,
He'd been in Full Metal Jacket and Married to the Mob, but he again wasn't quite a household name yet. So that was the tack of his whole monologue, was that he wasn't really that known, and which was kind of cute. So I instantly flashed on that because I remember SNL episodes from the '80s much better than the ones I watched like a week or two ago.
oh boy. Oh, this episode's gonna be great then. Uh,
It'll happen to you.
but yeah, I mean that is interesting to see, like all these, because there are a number of comics who sort of slowly and quietly built up a huge fan base that
Hmm.
maybe like the mainstream isn't even aware of, like like Russell Peters or Sebastian
Hmm.
Maniscalco, who
Right,
a lot of
right.
people still don't know who it is, but like that dude like sold out the Garden like 5 nights in a row or something crazy like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean,
So
even somebody like Kevin Hart, who's like super famous now, but he just he built up his. He was just like a jobbing stand-up comic, and then he got very, very huge.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to this. My only concern is that and I understand how some people may not know who Nate Bargatze is because like he's a guy who's pretty much only done stand up. Like I looked through his IMDb to see if he's done any acting work, like
Hmm.
or stand up or sketch comedy. He hasn't done much. Like he's done an episode of Marin. He's
Okay.
done I Love the '80s, VH1's I Love the, and that's
Sure.
he did like a voice in a video game, and that's it. Really, he hasn't like all he does is straight up is stand up. So I think we're gonna get a killer monologue, handheld mic and
Yeah.
all. But as far
Sure.
as the sketches go, like I don't know, that can go either way.
Well, it's an unknown factor. I mean, there are a lot of crossover skills. I mean, a lot of comedians, they do like act outs and stuff in their act. That's like, when you assume a character and you're kind of acting out a situation that you're describing in your act.
Right, right.
Um, so yeah, I think he'll probably be good.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, Nate Bargatze, I'm looking forward to it. Like I'm actually kind of
Hmm.
interested in seeing. Like I mean, of course, I don't want the strike to continue and whatnot, but like, I mean, if we're gonna keep having like sort of out the box thoughts, what because we or out the box choices for hosts because we can't get the actors. I mean, I'm down for having more like comedians like this host. Like, I'm down for. I mean, I didn't think that Jim Gaffigan had a chance at hosting because like not everybody knows who he is. But if Bart Gatty getting a shot, let's get Gaffigan in there. Hell, let's get Patton Oswald in there. I think
Patton
he's
Oswalt. so needs to host SNL.
I think,
I
yeah,
would kill.
it's high time that Patton
Yeah,
Oswalt hosts, like for sure.
like Patton Oswalt is on my short list of how the fuck have they not hosted yet? And like earlier today, I was like, they really need to bring Keegan Michael Key back because he fucking killed it when he hosted. I think the end of the season before last.
Yeah, yeah, that was a great episode too. He
Yeah,
knocked out the park.
I don't understand how he didn't come back the very next season. I don't get that. Maybe just he was too busy or something. But like, how do you
Yeah,
not ask him back?
yeah, like
I desperately want to see Rachel Bloom host. I
mm,
can't believe that never happened while Crazy Ex Girlfriend was on the air. Um, who else? I mean,
uh,
there are others, but those are some of the big ones.
yeah, like I'm sure there are a bunch of other people, like Nick Kroll or whoever, like who've been around for a while and are all amazing, but just never got a chance to host. But I don't know, like if SNL is giving folks like Nate Bargatze a shot, like I'd love to see all these other, you know, comedians and like sketch people get a shot to host this thing.
Yeah, that would be fun. I mean, Terry Crews. That's the other one
Oh yeah,
who I'm dying to see host because I think he would kill it.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Terry
yeah,
Crews,
I mean, of
sure.
course, a lot of the people I just named are SAG people, so
Mm.
they may be reluctant to do it, but it's still what I want.
And in the end, that's more important than.
I'm not going to censor my fantasies for reality because that way lies madness.
Oh wow, that's yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah,
Uh,
don't censor your fantasies, people.
yes, exactly. Yeah. So October 28th, Nate Bargatze and Foo Fighters. Looking forward to it. Very.
I'm looking forward to it. I mean, that is the booking that's gotten me the most excited so far for this
Mhm.
season.
Yeah, yeah,
So
super pumped. But for now, we have the episode that just came out last night on October 21st, 2023.
yes,
Musical host and guest, Mr. Bad Bunny.
so he's a musical host and a guest instead of the host and the musical guest.
You know what I mean. The musical host,
Okay,
musical guest. Don't
no, I like that classification.
don't tie me
Yeah,
down
so
with semantics.
it was Bad Bunny, and this is, as you said, October 21st, 2023, season 49, episode 2. It just aired last night as we're talking, and whew, let's get into it.
Oh boy. Okay, here we go. Yeah, start off with the Jim Jordan cold open. Of course, we all know Jim Jordan. He's the man who the Republicans have been trying to run to be the new Speaker of the House.
Yeah.
And yeah, he
He's like, sex crimes? What sex crimes?
yeah, what sex crimes, schmex crimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, like I think he's tried 3 times and he doesn't have the votes and he hasn't gotten to be the speaker and
Yeah.
just the GOP is just in total disarray and
Yeah.
just everything's a goddamn mess.
Yeah. And I believe he said that he's like pulled out of consideration. I don't think he's going to go for another vote, is what I understand.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, he's not doing it. He's like, fuck this noise, I'm out. And it's
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, well, I could utterly humiliate myself and do this like another 12 times, as others have before me.
mm-hmm. Ooh-wee!
Yeah. Yeah. So we got a cold open. We got Mikey Day playing Jim Jordan. First off, really impressed with his wig. The wig was incredible, and it made him look a lot like Jim Jordan.
Good wig, good wig.
Good wig. Kudos to the SNL hair and makeup department because you fucking killed it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's on the phone. He's talking to his wife, saying like, "Yeah, I think I'll be home soon. We haven't decided yet." And then he like, as he finishes the call, he crushes the phone, which I thought was a cute touch.
Yeah, very nice touch. Of course, Heidi comes in as his assistant, saying, "Oh, do you need another phone, Mr. Jordan?" It's like, "Yes, I do," and I replaces the phone, and then we get this sort of, a little bit of a carousel of characters that SNL has done before with their cold opens, who kind of come in and try to cheer up Jim Jordan. We have
Yeah.
George Santos, played by Bowen Yang.
Yeah, coming in with a random baby, and they're like, "Yeah, where'd you get that baby?" He's like, "That's the thing, I don't know,"
Right.
because he was like answering questions from reporters this week, and he was just carrying someone's baby, and no one knows where this baby came from. I think.
Yeah, just God, real life has become so strange.
Was there an explanation on that I
I
just missed? I wasn't following that story closely, but
I think maybe he said it was like his assistant's baby or
okay.
something. I don't know.
I mean,
Like,
that makes a nominal amount of sense. Sure. Okay.
yeah, but I don't know. Real life is so weird, man.
It really is. I mean, we are living in surreal times.
Hmm. For sure.
We had Chloe Feynman cameo as Lauren Boebert
Yeah,
and on the phone, and so we see her in a split screen, and the gag was we see a random hand coming in from off screen to feel her up,
yeah, just straight
and
up.
she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm at the theater seeing Aladdin," because there was that whole story over the summer where she was at a production of Beetlejuice, and there were was getting them hot and bothered apparently.
Yeah, like she was like vaping next to a pregnant woman, and yeah, like I think that at
her
first,
her date was feeling her up, and she
yeah,
was like she was going downstairs on him, and
yeah, and like I think at first she denied it, but then the theater released like security footage
which is
of
so
them.
hilarious.
It
Yeah,
real like Jesus Christ,
and
and
At Beetlejuice,
uh,
it's so
yeah, that's not a sexy play to take to do that.
I don't think so. I haven't seen the stage version, but no, I can't imagine it.
Yeah,
I don't know what. Again, we live in surreal times. So yeah, so we just see this. We don't see who's doing it. We just see this person's hand coming in and grabbing Chloe's boob.
mm,
And my first thought was like, I hope to God that's Chloe's boyfriend.
yeah, it really does. I really do. Yeah.
I hope they didn't just get some rando to come in and just feel up one of the cast members on national television
Just some
for her
dude,
sake.
just some dude off the street. Hey, you! Yeah, you.
you know,
You wanna come in here?
I mean, look, if she's okay with that, that's fine. That's great. But I was just like, that's just kind of weird if it's just some random person doing that.
Yeah, I
But it
feel.
was it was a
Yeah,
cute gag.
yeah, because I mean, she's dating like one of the writers, if I'm not mistaken. So, like, I imagine
I
he.
think you're right. Yeah, I just remember. I know that she has some boyfriend. Like, because I follow her on Instagram, and I believe she's shown herself with her boyfriend a few times. And
Okay, yeah,
yeah, and I think it is a writer on the show.
yeah.
So
So I'm sure he like stepped is like, yeah, no, I'm gonna be doing that part. I'll be the hand.
again, I hope so.
Yeah. Uh,
uh, and
and yeah,
let's see, we had James Austin Johnson coming in as Trump.
yeah, and yeah, he comes in. Of course, James Austin Johnson does his Trump thing, coming in, kind of berating Jim Jordan.
Doing his word salad. He says he's traveling from city to city, visiting their courtrooms, which was a cute joke.
Mhm.
And Jim Jordan's like, I don't understand. I was doing everything you were doing. I was a very very aggressive and insulting, and somehow that didn't work for me.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like he talked about how maybe it's because you don't wear a jacket. People don't like that. You look like a night manager at a 2-star steakhouse.
Yeah, yeah. And he said, well, hey, face it, I'm Coke, you're Shasta.
Yeah, and
And
like
then Trump goes off on a tangent. And he's talking about how we're the most beautiful country filled with horrible people.
yeah, I mean that's yeah. I mean I was like yeah, I kind of agree with that. There, it's
Not
like
inaccurate. Not inaccurate.
yeah, it's like oh, don't we love our country? What an awful place it is.
Yeah, yeah. It was cute. I'm glad the Trump appearance was mercifully brief. Not that James Lawson Johnson's Trump isn't great. I'm just I'm still sick of Trump in general. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah, I think they kind of know that. So yeah, I think they do try to pull back the Trump thing a little bit. Like they didn't do like we didn't see James Austin Johnson doing the Trump on last week's episode and on
Yeah.
this week's episode. He's in there, but it's like they're parsing it out because like I think they
It's a
know.
brief appearance. Yeah.
Yeah, because like they know too much Trump can make the audience go like oh like even when he came out on stage, there wasn't like a huge like you know uh, applause break or
Yeah. The
anything.
the cold open it wasn't going over great.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I don't know if it was just the audience because like the audience was responding big when Bad Bunny came out for his monologue. So I'm like,
Oh, were they?
okay. So I'm like, okay, this audience is just here to see Bad Bunny, and they're not really there to see the show per se.
Yeah.
So I think that was part of it. Um,
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, I thought the cold open was okay, but yeah, the jokes
yeah,
were.
I also think it was kind of an cold open. But
Yeah, like I mean, I thought there was that one joke that was kind of cool where Jim Jordan was like, "Yeah, yeah, like you endorsed me and I still lost," and Trump was
yeah,
like, "Yeah, that seemed to be happening a lot."
yeah.
So
So
I was like, "All right, that was kind of cool." But yeah, but overall, I thought the jokes in the cold open were just kind of so, and it just seemed like they're just kind of wrapping everything up that happened in the weeks they had off in this one little cold open,
yeah,
kind of touching
yeah.
on.
I mean, the Bobert story is, I suppose, kind of an old story at this point. I mean, it's, but I'm sure all the late night shows wanted to get their licks in
Yeah,
because it happened while they were off.
yeah. I mean, there was a quick mention that Bowen had about Will and Jada, which they'll, or
Hmm.
Will and Jada and Tupac, which they'll of course touch back on in the Weekend Update segment.
Yes.
But yeah, overall, I thought the cold open was kind of middling.
Yeah, I was like, okay, we're not getting off to a great start, but at least it wasn't too long. I'd say it was a decent length.
Yeah, fair enough. It was decent. Yeah.
Um,
Now let's get into our monologue.
Monologue, the Bad Bunny monologue. He comes right out and he said, it's getting huge applause. He comes right out and says, "English is not my first language." I'm like, oh, okay, well, all right.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I was not aware of this going in. I don't really know Bad Bunny
Yeah,
well
yeah.
at
No,
all.
he's born and raised in Puerto Rico, and
Right.
he came to this. Yeah, he's straight. It shows. I don't know. I'll get into it now. Like it does show in like a few sketches. One in particular very much shows that he can speak English, but he's way more comfortable and charismatic when he's speaking his native tongue of Spanish.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah,
And look, yeah, I'm not really criticizing his English, way better than my Spanish.
yeah.
And I admire the hell out of anyone who is bilingual, but I don't think it was a good fit for the show, you know?
It in a way it was, in a way it wasn't. It wasn't a good fit as far as like sketches go, but
Yeah.
it was in the fact that Bad Bunny does have this huge fan base. So to get eyes and viewers and shares and retweets and all that jazz for the show, it was a good fit.
But
So
it's such a handicap, and if they're not going to make a very good host,
yeah,
why do it no matter how popular they are? I mean, that's where I'm coming from on
yeah,
this.
no, I'm with
Um,
you. I agree, but like I guess in this world where you have to stay relevant and
Yeah,
all that
you got to get the
jazz.
eyeballs, I guess, especially after coming off the long hiatus. So I guess I understand why they made the decision they did. I don't know if it's a decision I would have made in their shoes, but
Yeah,
I
fair
mean,
enough.
it's like I said, it's a big handicap for the show.
But
But
yeah,
like I said, the audience loving him, lots of hooting and hollering.
yeah, yeah. He comes out.
Um,
He almost accidentally calls the show "Sabado Gigante," which is
mhm.
like a huge, big deal in Latin cultures. It was like one of the most like longest running variety shows on Univision, of course.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a nice little nod to Spanish heritage. And yeah, the audience is like Reggae Jean Page levels of hooping and hollering over
Yeah,
everything he's doing.
they want to get all up in that. And yeah, he comes out. He says, English is not my first language, and he goes into Spanish, and we immediately see subtitles speaking in non-English, which I thought was cute.
Yeah.
Um,
And then he asks for that to be changed, and it changes to speaking a sexier language.
yeah, speaking sexier language, and then he brings his friend Pedro Pascal on to translate.
Yes, Pedro Pascal, the first but not the last celebrity cameo of the show tonight.
Yes, a lot of celebrity cameos, which
Ooh!
uh, again, which kind of shows that why he maybe wasn't the best choice of host because they're using a lot of crutches.
Yeah, I mean,
You
I think
know,
they kind of did this with a Jack Harlow episode when they had Tom Hanks come out,
yeah,
and he was in two sketches. Like that's kind of that was
it's not a big vote of confidence. I feel
no,
like when you
no,
have this many cameos in an episode of SNL. So
yeah, and but yeah, Pedro Pascal comes out to a big thunderous applause, hooping and hollering, and he helps
yep,
translate. Uh, he helps translate what Benito, which is his
yes,
Christian given name.
yeah,
Uh,
Benito Mussolini.
what? I don't think that's right.
I did not fact check this. Am I wrong?
Let me. Yeah, it is. Yes, you are. I don't even have to fact check it to know that can't be his last name. But
Okay. All
yeah.
right. Fine.
But
Agree to disagree.
yeah. Yeah. According to Wikipedia, his real name is Benito Antonio Martinez Ocasio.
Wow. Okay.
So Benito. That's his first.
Yeah. 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 And occasionally we hear him called Benito, which I'm assuming is what people mostly address him in life. But sometimes they're calling him Bad Bunny, sometimes they're calling him Benito. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, guess his real name's Benito.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
live and
That's
learn.
cool. Yeah. But yeah. So like Pedro helps him translate, and he helps him. It's like, oh, what do I have to do to become a good host for the night? And Pedro says, "Hey, well, one of the things I do is like you just say some self-deprecating things, like
Yeah.
things about the way you look and whatnot." And of course, Bad Bunny's like,
Yeah.
but I'm so handsome. Like, there's nothing wrong
Yeah.
with
He's
me.
like, I don't have any of those. I don't have
Yes,
any. Yeah.
exactly. I think at one point, like, Pedro says to him, "Oh, so you want me to translate for you?" And Bad Bunny couldn't hear him because the audience was screaming so loud. He was like, "Wait, what'd you say?" He's like, "You want me to translate?" And it's like, "Yeah, oh yes, that's right. That's the next line."
I think I missed that. I mean, I remember Bad Bunny. He goes on this long, uh, uh, sort of mini monologue in Spanish, and then Pedro just translates it. He was like, "I would like to thank my friend Pedro Pascal for being here tonight," or something like
Ah,
that.
yeah. So yeah, we get to see Bad Bunny and like Pedro Pascal, who kind of helps
Yeah,
him through the monologue. Which overall, I thought the monologue was all right, but it
it didn't especially excite me. The thing I found the most interesting, I think, was when the camera pulls back, we see that Pedro Pascal is wearing like these neon highlighter yellow pants. They are just
ooh
like intensely yellow.
yeah, they're popping, and yeah, like Bad Bunny had like this MC Hammer, Deion Sanders kind of suit. Like
Yeah, very very loose cut on the suit, very baggy suit.
I was like,
Um,
oh, is this coming back in style? Oh, say
is
word.
yeah, I don't know. Is this the style? I don't know.
I don't know, but yeah, overall, I'd say the monologue was okay, but I'll admit it was mostly because of Pedro Pascal kind of helping Bad Bunny get across the finish line here.
Yeah, yeah, and when you're pulling out the cameos in the monologue, I don't know.
Yeah, it's
Okay, all right. Our first sketch, rap battle,
rap
which,
battle.
as you might expect from the title, is a rap battle. We got Bad Bunny playing a rapper, so he's really outside his comfort zone,
Yeah,
and we're doing like an 8 Mile style rap battle. And then the other rapper is Mikey Day as Walter Whiteboy, which I kind
oh,
of like that name.
I dig it. I don't
Bad
hate it.
Bunny's playing a rapper named Fuego.
Right. And yeah,
Uh,
so they get to the last part of the battle, and of course, like you said, this whole thing is based off of the last scene in 8 Mile, where
mhm.
Eminem is nervous about battling Papa Doc, and he's like, "Oh my God, I don't know if I could beat him. He's the best." And then one of his friends is like, "Oh, just well." I think at the last scene, one of the friends is like, "Yeah, like it's gonna be hard battling him because he like what he's gonna say about you, about all the things you went through." And then that gives Eminem an idea to say all those things that Papa Doc is going to say about him to him first. Like,
Oh, okay. See, I've never seen 8 Mile, so I didn't
uh,
realize that is exactly what the ending of 8 Mile is. I didn't
yeah,
realize that Eminem went on a rap slamming himself. Okay,
yeah,
that's cool.
it's like the big scene in the movie. It's like the one everybody talks about because, like in the beginning of the movie, he plays this guy who's like really nervous about freestyling, and he actually in the beginning of the
Hmm.
movie he like freezes up in front of the first guy he tries to rap battle, and he just bombs. But at the end of the movie, he battles like Papa Doc, who's like the most well-known rap battler in the area, and he's like the big guy. And he goes up against him, and throughout the movie, he's had like his run-ins with Papa Doc, and Papa Doc and his crew kind of messed with Eminem and his crew, and Papa Doc slept with his girlfriend and all this jazz. So, like at the end of the movie, spoiler, I guess, but
Yeah.
at the end,
Spoilers for 8 Mile, people,
yeah,
but you probably should have seen it in around 2000 or something. What year did 8 Mile come out? I
I
don't know.
think it's been a minute. Yeah, I would say like
Yeah,
2000, like early 2000s for sure.
yeah. Whenever Eminem was a big thing.
Yeah, but like so at the end of the movie, when Eminem is gonna take out was going up against Papa Doc, one of his friends like says, "Yeah, it's gonna be tough because he has all this ammunition against you about like how he slept with your girl and he messed up our crew and all that stuff." And that gives Eminem the idea to say all those things first before he gets the chance to say them. Sort of,
Clever.
yeah, so like disarming him and taking away his weapons. And so Eminem
Right.
says all that shit and he owns it and he's like, "Yeah, you did all these things to me, but I'm still here saying fuck you and I'm a better rapper than you now. Now what are you gonna say?" And then Papa Doc clams up and
Damn, son.
he has nothing to say and he won the battle.
Damn.
Mm-hmm. So that is based on this sketch.
All right. So
yeah.
So last week I summarized the Star Trek Next Generation episode Relics. This week you summarized the end of 8 Mile.
Yes.
You're welcome, SNL nerds listeners.
Yes. Oh, 8 Mile 2002.
2002. Okay, so 21 years ago. Wow. Yeah. All right.
Available on Netflix right now.
All right. Okay. And Darren gives it thumbs up.
It's a solid. From what I remember, I haven't seen it in a while, but from what I remember, I liked it. The final battle is like the best part for sure.
Who was it that directed it? I know it was some big notable director too.
Shoot. I know. Hold on.
Okay. No, I thought you knew offhand. Don't look it up.
I think I want to say Antoine Fuqua, but I could be mistaken. I'll look it up. But yeah,
okay.
let's.
Well, anyway, so Devin and Ego are the people in Walter Whiteboy's crew, and they say, "Yeah, you got to drag yourself first." And so he goes out there and he raps about how he confesses that he dated his cousin. He got catfished by his own dad online, and towards the end of the sketch, he confesses that he has 4 testicles. So.
Yeah.
And it becomes apparent very quickly that this is basically Mikey's sketch. He's the one that the sketch is about. He's the one dominating it. Bad Bunny is just coming in every once in a while and doing the odd straight line. And I'm like, oh, I get it. This is going to be a bad show.
Oh, wow.
Our host isn't terribly comfortable performing in English.
Yeah, like I mean,
so we're having to accommodate that for the entire show.
Yeah, I will admit there was one sketch where I thought Bad Bunny was all right, but but I will agree for the most part, yeah, like the parts where Bad Bunny has to say something in English, it's a bit of a struggle. Again, there's one sketch where that's really apparent, but we'll get there.
Yeah, and I thought this was fine. It was just it's kind of unbalanced because the host was so light, and again, I'm sure it's because of the language thing. So it was just a little odd in that regard. I thought it was amusing enough.
Yeah, I thought it was amusing enough. I did like Bad Bunny's lines where when Mikey's saying the things about like how he kissed his cousin and got catfished by his own dad, and then Fuego comes in. It's like, oh, I'm so sorry you went through that. I mean,
I like that they had the twist of Bad Bunny's character just expressing sympathy because he's so horrified by what has happened to Mikey. That was cute. It was a cute sketch.
Yeah, it was a cute. And like there was that one part where I think like Mikey goes to the audience to see if they're into it, and the audience is like, "Yeah, no, you can stop." But Michael Longfellow's like, "Well, I'm kind of into it."
Yeah.
And then Mike is like, "Yeah, oh yeah, the white boy likes it. What's up?"
Yeah, and I mean, and Keenan gave some good support as the host, and again, very impressive wig because he's like got
the cornrows.
Yeah, cornrows. Thank you. I was blanking on the name of cornrows for some reason. I was picturing the hairstyle on my head, and I was like, "What is that called again?"
Cornrows. But yeah, the sketch was so. It was okay, but it wasn't.
It was fine. It was nothing to write home about, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. So director of 8 Mile was Curtis Hanson.
Curtis Hanson, yeah, he did. Didn't he did L.A. Confidential? I think
he did that. He did Hands That Rocks the Cradle.
Yeah.
The River Wild, Wonder Boys.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was pretty sure it was a white guy who directed 8 Mile because I remember that being kind of notable.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for looking that up.
No worries. But yes, overall, off to a
start.
Off to a start. Yes.
A start.
Yeah. Next up,
but this it did not bode well. I was just like, I got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah, it was iffy. Next up, we got a pre-tape, The Age of Discovery.
Yes, this is we're in Spain in the 16th century. We've got some explorers coming back to report on their journey to the king.
Yeah.
And the explorers are played by Mikey Day and Fred Armisen.
Yes, celebrity cameo number 2 of the night.
Celebrity cameo number 2, number 2 in a series. Collect them all.
Yeah.
And they're reporting to the king, who's played by Bad Bunny, and then it was
the prince. It was Marcelo.
Marcelo. Thank you. And
yeah, and so
and we've got Dismukes in there as like a cleric.
Yeah, exactly.
Who just has occasional interjections.
Right. So
basically, light show for Dismukes, by the way.
Yeah, very light. Dismukes and Longfellow, very light.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's it's Day and Armisen. They play the admiral and the general, reporting back to the king in Spain, talking about their travels.
They didn't find a new route to China, but because they ran into a new continent, this new world, and the king and the prince are just like, why didn't you just go around it?
Yeah, just go around.
It's too big to go around. No. And they're like, but hey, we brought back all this cool stuff from the new world. We brought here's the turkey, and the king and the prince are very unimpressed. They're like, why does it have testicles in its face?
Right. They brought back a llama, and they're like, oh, this is like a horse, but worst.
Yes. Probably one of the few appearances of a llama on SNL without Abraham Lincoln and Showgirls, I would say. I don't think we had any Lincoln and Showgirls in this episode, which seems like a missed opportunity.
Really broke my heart.
Yeah. He's like, here's a tomato, and the prince takes a bite of it, and he's like, why is it all squishy inside?
Yeah, this apple has goo in it.
Yeah. He's like, here's a pumpkin, and it's a pumpkin. It's a really shitty looking pumpkin. By the way, I mean, kudos to whoever found that shitty looking pumpkin, and they're like, what is this herpes melon?
That line was funny. I will give it.
I wrote that down.
That melon has herpes. Oh.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, we have this tobacco, which are these leaves. If you roll them up and if you smoke them, it gives you a pleasing sensation. And they're like, this looks like dookie.
Yeah, but they end up liking it. They're like, all right, this is okay.
Yeah, when they're finally convinced to try it, they're like, okay, the dookie cigarette is okay.
Yeah, and then of course they end it by saying, oh, we also have gold. And it's like, well, why did you start with that? Lead with the gold.
You should have let. Yeah. I thought this was a pretty bad sketch.
I didn't think it was terrible. I thought it was okay.
Yeah. By the way, most of the sketches in Spanish. I don't think we really said that.
Yeah, actually, all of the sketches in Spanish. They didn't.
Yeah. And it's like subtitled. So
yeah, this might be the first time that's ever happened. Like an SNL sketch all completely in Spanish or any other language, as far as I know.
The closest thing I can think of off the top of my head is when Bill Murray hosted in the 80s, and this is like in the Dana Carvey, Phil Hartman, Nora Dunn days. They did a Hercules movie, and the joke was they were all dubbed.
Yes. Oh, yes.
And the main thing I remember, like, and the joke was like Hercules had been held prisoner for a long time, so he'd let himself go to seed. So he's like a very out of shape Bill Murray, and they're like, that boulder is too small, or that boulder is too big. I could lift a smaller one.
Oh, I love that sketch. Like, so the mighty Hercules.
And they're all sort of out of sync, because they're like lip syncing to, I'm assuming, a pre-recorded track. Very funny, very underrated sketch. I got to try and find that one online. I want to see that one again.
It's a solid sketch. Like,
yeah.
Hercules, lift with the knees.
Yes. Again, recalling things we watched in the 80s better than things we just watched today.
Yeah.
I just didn't find this one especially funny. Outside of a pumpkin being described as a herpes melon.
I'll give. Yeah, I think that's probably the line that like made me enjoy the sketch. The herpes. Yeah, that melon has herpes.
Do you think they called Fred in because they were just like, we need somebody else who speaks Spanish to speak Spanish in a sketch?
I think probably. Yeah, I mean, because Mikey,
like Fred's in town.
Yeah, because I mean, Mikey Day's in it. He's playing a Spaniard, I assume, and he's speaking Spanish. And I mean, Dismukes is in this sketch, and he's playing a Spaniard as well, I guess. And he's
got a line
Spanish.
Or two, yeah.
Yeah, but I guess we need somebody that can really, who is at least part Spanish to like really
We
play.
need someone who's fluent.
Yeah, exactly. So there's like, Fred, are you busy? It's like, all right, don't do it. So yeah,
he was on set this week, so
he was around. He sleeps at the 30 Rockefeller, so it's
and at 40 Rock, he's got a very large bed.
yes, that's his summer home, the one in 40
Yeah.
Rock.
So I was like, oh, okay, this show's going to be a bit of a slog. I feel like,
Yeah, I mean this sketch wasn't super strong, but I don't know. I like Marcelo enough that he elevated it a little bit. Like
look, it was a good week for Marcelo. Marcelo
yeah,
had lots to do.
I know. Like that seems to be happening whenever they have in like a Spanish speaking guest, like when they had Anna de Armas. Like,
yeah,
like
Marcelo's like, it's my time to shine.
Oh shit.
which is good because I mean he's normally rather underserved because he's still a newish cast member. So
right, but yeah, he's getting those reps, baby. He's getting those reps.
Yeah. Marcelo representing.
Yeah.
Next we had telenovela.
Yes. So we have them. It's on the set of a telenovela. They're filming. We have Bad Bunny, Marcelo again. Mikey Day playing the direct. Mikey Day got a lot of screen time this episode.
Yeah, he did.
Like, holy moly! Like,
he's the director. I mean, you didn't have to be bilingual. You'd think a telenovela director wouldn't be speaking English as a first language, but whatever. Okay, yeah, comedy sketch. I'm going with it.
Let's just let's just put that to the side.
Yeah, we'll put that to the side.
Exactly. So, like, he's directing this telenovela. They start shooting the first scene. And then the maid comes.
There's slapping.
There's slapping. There's spitting on the ground, and
yeah,
like, how could you? Like a lot of big soap opera acting. And then Punky Johnson comes out as the maid who has one line, but as we quickly learn, she does not know Spanish, so
she cannot speak Spanish. Does not pronounce it very well.
Yes. And, so she comes out saying "Tuna una parte de carta." And she doesn't know Spanish,
and Mikey stops the scene and he's like, okay, well, let's try this again. He asks her like, do you speak Spanish? And she's like, no, but it's only one line. I'll get the hang of it.
Yeah, I'll figure it out.
Yeah, she's very confident. She comes in again and the line's even more off the next time, and he's like, you made your line longer.
Yeah.
And he's like, I thought we were going to get a Latina for this part. And she's like, no, I'm Latina. My name is Latina Jefferson. Yeah.
Wah, wah. Yeah, it's kind of a hacky. It sounds like that was kind of a hacky joke. I will admit, it's like something that would have happened on like an episode of this in the 90s or something.
Ooh, wow.
I mean, am I wrong? I think it's kind of like a 90s.
I guess joke. I don't know. Yeah, sure. I just wasn't expecting the random attack at 1990s SNL. But okay.
All right, you were attacking the show too. It's not just me. We're both, we're both not here to make friends.
That's true. That's right. True. This show is all about burning bridges.
But I will admit, I did like Bowen Yang was playing the guy with the clapperboard, and he would come in saying, "All right, this is take 2B, as in baby, you're a star." Or take 2.
I wasn't too nuts about that because I'm just like, SNL, they have a bad habit of they want to give every bit character a little bit to play because they don't want to give anybody a purely thankless role. And I'm just like, the sketch is not about the clapperboard guy. Just have him say his fucking lines and then move on with the.
See, now who's bringing the heat? Here we go. Wow.
Yeah, but I'm bringing the heat on present day SNL.
I see. Okay. Well, all right.
That's allowed.
Fair enough.
I don't know. Yeah, nothing against Bowen or anything like that, but I'm just like, I hate it when SNL does that.
Yeah, just like kind of bringing in more, just adding in more than they need to rather than be focused on one.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's just like the sketch is not about the clapperboard guy. The clapperboard guy doesn't need an arc,
Okay, all right. Well, so Latina Jefferson keeps going and trying to do her best to get through the scene. And then we have an actor who plays the father of these two characters, Bad Bunny and Marcelo Hernandez.
I wonder who in the cast this is going to be.
It's no one in the cast because
what?
Out of nowhere, coming out looking at fly in one of Steve Martin's white suits from the 70s, people, Mick Jagger comes out.
Sudden random Mick Jagger appearance, and it's just like, okay, well, hey, the Stones have a new album yet out. I guess he wants to plug that. He's got friends at SNL. He hosted a few years back.
Celebrity cameo number 3 of the night.
Number three, Mick Jagger with a painted on mustache.
Yeah, just like a paint like almost like Groucho Marx, but with it's like a handlebar mustache.
Groucho Marx with some Latinx flavor.
Yeah, and of course he hams it up, like Silencio, boys, and just like he slaps both of his sons and laughs maniacally, and yeah, it's
and scene.
Yeah, it gets wild. Yeah, I will admit the way they ended it wasn't great. Where Latina Jefferson's like, "Hey, I'm Latina Jefferson. I got my own money, and I'm gonna make my own show." And she comes out with a show called
and there's a cutaway to like a poster of her show.
Yeah, so yeah, this sketch was it's kind of all over the place. This one,
bad sketch.
Yeah. I mean, it was.
Yeah, I was just like, okay, we're obviously just trying to accommodate the host however we can.
Yeah, I mean, they played it big and fun and loose, so there was some kind of fun to be had there, especially when Mick Jagger just comes in and just chews up scenery, like I don't know what, just like, I'm Mick Jagger, baby, just like laughs maniacally while staring at his hands. But yeah, this sketch was like, the way it ended wasn't strong, and it's like, all right, well, I guess this is like the big fun. Like, if they're not gonna come through with like a kind of I guess like I don't want to say well written sketch, but like a sketch. I don't mean to be this salty today. I really don't. I'm sorry.
Well, don't hold back, dear.
I don't mean. Wow. Holy hell! We're making enemies left and right in this episode. But like,
so now, not how I was expecting that sentence to end.
And they're focusing more on the big, bawdy funness of these sketches rather than.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, let's say that. Oh boy, it's so hot in here.
Oh, I love that.
I like this show. I swear, I really do.
Yeah, but I mean, so far the tally is we're 3 sketches deep, counting the monologue, and we're 3 cameos. So it's like, okay, all right, this is what we're doing. This is how we're rolling tonight.
Yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, I will say, like, I don't think the telenovela sketch and the one before it, the Age of Discovery, I don't think they're bad sketches, but they're not great.
I do.
Okay.
I will say I think they were bad sketches.
Okay. All right. I don't think there is a sketch coming up that I think was a bad one, but I don't think these.
Look, I mean, hey, look, they're trying.
They're trying. They're trying.
They're trying.
The audience likes it.
Your host not being terribly comfortable with English, it's a big hurdle to overcome, okay? And they're doing everything they can. They're pulling every rabbit out of the hat that they can.
Yeah, the audience likes it, so maybe that's why I felt like I liked it more than I did.
Yeah, I mean, it was going over well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of affection for Bad Bunny in that room, so
maybe that's why I was like, this wasn't that bad because the audience was having a good time. So I was like, well, I guess if the audience is having fun, then I guess I'm having fun.
I disagree, audience.
Ooh-wee.
I'm right, you were wrong.
This is going to be a hot one. It's gonna.
So next we have Please Don't Destroy with their weekly sketch of the week, where SNL writing night.
Mm-hmm.
Bad Bunny comes into their room, their writing room. Would you call it a dressing room? No, it's a writing room. And he comes in. He's dressed up as Shrek.
Yeah,
he's got the green skin. He's got the antenna. He's got the vest. And
the boys, the boys are confused, saying, "Well, why are you like? Do you want to do a Shrek sketch?" And it's like, yeah, I guess. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah. And I mean, how much more Shrek could he be? None more Shrek.
Yeah. And then they're like, well, do you want a movie? Do you want to do a movie? Like, you don't seem to be interested in the Shrek sketch. You want to do movies? Like, yeah, maybe. Yeah, that'd be fine. Whatever.
You want to do a full Shrek movie?
Yeah, and it's like them kind of pulling out of him the fact that he wrote a script for a Shrek movie that A24 is doing. I guess.
Yeah, and they're like, "Do you really like Shrek?" And he's like, "No, not really." Which I liked that. I like that he's not enthusiastic about Shrek at all, but yet he's for some reason, some random reason, is dressed up as Shrek.
Right. Absolutely. So
Um,
yeah, so like as the sketch goes on, it ends up he's written roles for every all the PDD boys. Martin is going to be Donkey.
mhm.
Puss in Boots is going to be Ben, and he wrote John a part as Michael Jackson,
Yes,
which is
a big part of every Shrek movie,
yes, of course.
and they do a read through of his script, and he's like, "No, do the voices," and they're like, "Oh, I don't think we should do the voices. I don't think that's going to end well for us." And he's like, "No, do the voices."
Right. And so they make him do the voice. They all have to do the voices, and they read through the script, and it turns out like Puss in Boots and Donkey were lovers. Donkey
Hmm.
has cancer,
Hmm.
and Shrek has to.
Shrek sacrifices his life and tumbles out of an escape pod into the sun.
Yes. And like at the end of it, the PDD board's like, "Oh, this script is amazing. You got to put it out there." And then Bad Bunny's like, "Yeah, no, I don't like it," and just throws it away in the garbage, and that's the end of the sketch.
Yeah. Um, what'd you think?
I wasn't wild about this.
Me neither. Me
It's-
neither. I didn't think it was up to PDD's usual standard.
yeah,
It was just an off sketch for him. It happens.
it's yeah,
I mean, I liked some of the absurdist touches. I mean, I really liked. Do you like Shrek? And he's like, no, not really.
yeah. This sketch was more weird than funny.
Yeah, it just didn't do much for me. I
Yeah,
suppose.
like I really didn't even write too many notes on it because I thought it was like
Yeah, me neither.
not
I was
great.
just like, okay, well, even Please Don't Destroy is having an off night
Yeah.
or off week. So
Yeah. So musical performances. Shall we get into that?
musical performances. Bad Bunny, introduced by Lady Gaga. We are at cameo number 4
Yes.
for the evening.
Yeah, like I saw somebody on Twitter point out the fact that because the Rolling Stones have a new album out, so they were probably in the
Yeah.
city promoting it.
Yeah.
Lady Gaga is on their new album. They have a song with her and Stevie
Oh,
Wonder.
okay. I didn't know that she was on it. That's cool.
Yeah, they have a song with her and Stevie Wonder, of all people.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
I've heard good things about the new album. I heard it's good. Like they have a
I haven't listened to any of the songs yet. I know they dropped a music video that had Sydney Sweeney in it, but I haven't watched it yet. I do want to check it out because I do like the Stones,
yeah, yeah,
and apparently it's getting good notices, good reviews.
yeah.
So
It's got
I want to see what they're up to, and they're like pushing 80
yeah,
at this point.
yeah, very much so. Yeah, people say this is like
Yeah,
definitely one of their better albums. They have a song with Paul McCartney.
I did hear that. Yeah,
They have a song with Elton John, and yeah, the people say the album is solid.
I
Uh,
mean that's great, and that's amazing. I mean, like 60 odd years into their career
woo,
and they're still bringing it. That's
still
God bless you, Rolling Stones.
bringing the heat. But
Yeah.
yeah, but like I think somebody pointed the thing where they're probably both in New York. Mick Jagger and Lady Gaga promoting the album, and
Okay.
Lauren probably just gave him a call and be like, "Hey, you want to just dip in and be on the show for a bit?" And they were like, "Yeah,
Hmm.
sure, why not?"
Yeah. Okay. All right.
But yeah, yeah. So Bad Bunny he does two songs.
Yep.
Un Preview, which is
Hmm.
the one where he's dancing in front of a mechanical horse in an all
He's got
white
a
room.
hobby horse behind him. Yeah.
Yeah, like one of those horses you see in front of the bodega or something.
Hmm. Hmm.
And
Yeah, and it's just a white cube, and just with a hobby horse behind him.
yeah, and the
Um,
second song is Monaco, which is
Monaco. Yes.
Monaco, Monaco.
Which which Pedro Pascal introduced him. Um, I don't have much to say about this because his songs are all in Spanish, so I
Yeah,
don't know what he was singing about or anything like that. I am
yeah,
not a Spanish speaker.
yeah. I mean, I thought they were okay. I thought he was a
It
fine
was fine.
performer. Yeah,
Yeah.
like yeah. I don't speak that much Spanish either, but like,
Hmm.
so I was just trying to go off the vibes he was putting and the energy, and I thought they were okay. They were fine.
Yeah.
The second performance, Monaco, I thought was interesting, where everybody has on like these kind of like luchador masks where you can't see the eyes, so it kind of looks like Spider Man's mask a little bit, and they're all like,
It kind of reminded me of like the henchmen on some animated show, and I want to say the Tick, but I can't quite remember. Was it the ninjas on the Tick? It was
oh,
something like that. Yeah.
yeah, I could see
Where
that.
where they were all in black and they had the like the big round eyes. That was what they reminded me of.
Yeah, yeah,
Very
definitely.
very random reference, I know, but
Yeah, no, I could definitely see that. Like, I thought it was
yeah,
interesting too because, like, if you look on Bad Bunny's Twitter handle, like the icon picture of him is a picture of like one of those guys' heads, like in
I
that
did
mask.
see that. Yeah,
So
yeah.
I was like, oh, is this his thing? Like the dudes with the mask and no eyes. Like, all right, that's kind of cool, I guess.
Okay, yeah. I guess that's one of his trademarks or something.
But yeah, I thought the performances was all right. And
Yeah, it was fine. I'm afraid I have very very little to say about the musical performances because I, never heard those songs before. I don't know. I don't even know what they're about. So
yeah, I think they were okay. They were fine enough. So
yeah,
let's just go on the weekend update then. Since we have
weekend update.
Joe's.
Colin Jones, Michael Che.
Hey.
Let's see. We
Yeah, yeah,
what do we talk about on update this week? We had President Biden, speaking about all the whole mess happening with Israel and Palestine, and apparently his big refrain in his speeches this week was just "don't,"
yeah.
and just says he's like the Groot of presidents, which I thought was a cute line.
Yeah, no, it's a solid line. Yeah, I mean this weekend update was shorter than usual, like which makes me think
It really was, yeah.
I feel like they cut something out. Like I don't know. I was kind of
There
hoping.
had to be like a death segment that they were planning to do that they cut after dress or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe hopefully they'll put that out on the YouTubes. But
I mean, nothing, no deleted things have popped up on YouTube yet. So,
not yet, but soon,
yeah,
possibly soon. Uh,
who knows?
yeah. They had some good jokes in here. I like the one Joe talked about what Netflix opening some brick and mortar stores,
Mm,
which is like a serial killer walking in the skin of its victims. Cuts to
yeah,
a
and then they
picture.
show a shot of Blockbuster.
Yes, because like we're old enough to remember how Netflix totally killed Blockbuster Video, and like
Yes,
it's
yeah, and I know Netflix. They just recently stopped sending discs through the mail,
yeah,
so they are streaming only now. And when I was visiting a friend of mine a few weeks ago, we was getting ready to go to the Baltimore Comic Con, so I spent the night over at his place, and he was talking about how like his last rentals, he had to like pick his last rentals carefully because he was allowed to keep those discs.
ooh, nice,
Yeah, yeah. So they would just send him whatever movie he wanted that they had in stock, and so he was choosing those very carefully. I can't remember what movies he uh, got at this point because it was like over a month ago. But
wow, that's pretty cool.
yeah, but
Yeah,
I was like, oh, that's kind of neat.
yeah, it seems like a lot of people are just kind of just fading out DVDs. I know Best Buy is like totally like fade like by next year it'll totally stop selling
Yes,
DVDs and like CDs and the whole thing, which is
yeah,
kind
they
of a
announced
bummer.
they are phasing those out. So, which I imagine some other retailers will follow in the footsteps because I'm sure physical media sales are way way down.
It's a bummer for those that like actually like to. I don't know. I'm still like one of those old fools that still likes to hold their like a physical media, like to have
I
it like
Yeah.
streaming it and just be in the cloud. I don't know. It doesn't seem real to me. Still,
Well, I mean, the thing I like about physical media is, one, like if you get it on DVD or Blu-ray, uh, you're probably going to get a lot of extras. They don't do those quite as much as now because physical media isn't selling as much, so it's a chicken and egg sort of thing.
yeah,
Um, but the thing I really like is that the people can't take it away from you randomly the way they can with streaming. And even if
yeah,
it's something that you paid for on streaming, the somebody will just decide, oh, I'm taking this down now, and yeah, you don't own it anymore.
yeah. No, I
Um,
think a lot of people are realizing that now with like the way TV shows are being taken off of
mhm.
streaming platforms. Like, oh yeah, the Willow that was on Disney Plus, yeah, that's just gone. You can't get it anymore.
Yeah, I mean that really stinks is when they just randomly remove a thing so they don't have to like pay residuals or whatever
Yeah, like
on it.
I think like people are slowly starting to turn on streaming services and be like, hey, maybe cable wasn't that bad. Maybe like owning physical DVDs, maybe that was the way to go. Like I see
Yeah.
the tide turning just ever so slightly.
Yeah, I mean, I hope physical media never completely goes away because I certainly like it and I have a substantial collection myself. But I mean, we've run into that a few times, like on this show, and we're like, hey, let's do this particular movie, and then between the time we decide to watch that movie and the time when it's time for us to watch it, it's gone off whatever service it was on. That's happened
Yeah.
to us a couple times, I believe.
Yeah, and like, but then you got to kind of have to find what other new streaming service it's on. It's like if it's on a new
Yeah.
streaming service, and it's like,
Or if worse comes to worse, go to your local library and see if you can find a physical disc for
that's
it.
right.
So
That's how we do it, baby.
yeah.
Guys, hold on to your DVD players. They're like your last line of defense.
Yep. Yep.
Absolutely. But yeah, all right, wow, that was a nice little DVD talk. Uh,
Hmm.
but yeah, so yeah, Joseph and Trey had some other good jokes. I liked how L'Oreal and Revlon is being sued because people are saying their hair straightener causes infertility, and the L'Oreal and Revlon are countersuing that, saying maybe it's Maybelline.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's cute.
yeah, cute enough. But yeah, overall, I thought the jokes in this weekend update were okay, not the strongest.
None of them really blew me away, I would say.
Yeah, I would say that too.
The only one I really wrote down was the "Grew to President's" line, which I thought was cute. But the Netflix blockbuster joke was all right.
Yeah, not bad.
And then we had our guest segment. We had Ego as Jada Pinkett Smith, who's been in the news for so much this week
Ooh.
because like she has a book out now.
Yeah,
Is that it? Okay.
she has a book out. She's been making the rounds. She's been on the Today Show and every other show
I
talking
assume
about.
it's a biography.
Yeah, like a
Okay.
memoir type of thing, and she is
All right.
spilling the tea, as the kids say.
Yeah, it came out this week, or she reveals in the book, or she revealed in some interview that she's actually been separated from Will Smith for 6 years.
Yeah, since like 2016, they've been living kind of separate lives.
Right.
Um, yeah, and like she's kind of been saying all these things that really kind of a lot of people have like kind of turned on Jada, like because like it seems like she's kind of, I don't want to say manipulating him, but like it seems like she's kind of coming out and saying all these things that make him look not great and like just embarrass him. Like
You kind of emasculating, yeah.
yeah, like even Ego who says it in her segment here, saying, "Oh, nothing quite like emasculating or cucking your millionaire husband."
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, I wasn't too thrilled to see this. I mean, it's always nice to give Ego a showcase, of course, but I was just like, I'm so burned out on hearing anything about Jada Pinkett Smith because I've never cared about her a great deal to begin with.
Yeah.
And as I tweeted a week or two ago, I was like, everything I've ever learned about Jada Pinkett Smith has been against my will.
Yeah, very. Yeah,
I
very
can.
so. Yeah. But yeah, like so. But Ego plays Jada Pinkett Smith, talking about, yeah, somebody we knew our marriage would be off to a rocky start when somebody objected at the wedding, and yeah, it was me. I did that.
Yeah.
People calling, and I think Will Smith said their relationship is brutal, which is brutal and both beautiful. And Ego says, yeah.
And was that a real quote or is that just a joke?
No, that's a real quote. He's like, Will Smith
Okay.
says,
All
like,
right.
yeah,
Great. Great.
yeah. I feel so sorry for Will Smith. Like he even says, yeah, like their relationship has been very harsh and brutal, but beautiful at the same time. That sounds like somebody's just.
That doesn't sound healthy. No.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
Like I'm really concerned about.
You have opinions on this. Wow.
It's really, he sounds like so just beaten and downtrodden. It sounds like,
yeah.
I don't want to say brainwashed, but it sounds like something somebody would say, who's like, yeah, this is
A little Stockholm syndrome.
yeah,
going
like
on
this
there.
is a terrible relationship, but it's also beautiful in a way, which I don't you want to be in a
Yeah.
all
Let's back up to that terrible thing. Well,
yeah, don't you want to
let's delve into that a little bit more. Let's not skip past that.
yeah, but yeah, I mean, look, all relationships have had issues and troubles and whatnot, but like the moment you just say your relationship is brutal, that's when you got to be like, maybe I shouldn't be in this relationship.
That should not be one of your go-to adjectives for a relationship.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and of course, Ego as Jada talk about her relationship with Tupac, and like
yeah.
how he wanted to change his name to Pinkett, which of course playing because like Tupac and Jada Pinkett were actually like childhood friends. They'd known each other since they were teenagers and had like a really
Okay.
strong. Like I think Jada said like they never hooked up. It wasn't romantic, but they had a really strong like friendship, a really strong bond.
Oh, I was assuming that he was an ex of hers.
Yeah, no, I mean from what I looked up, like they were friends since they were teenagers back in Baltimore, and they
Okay.
maintained that strong friendship. But yeah, like Jada said, like they never Like it was always platonic. They never hooked up.
Okay.
But like, of course, some people were like, I don't know about that.
Girl.
But yeah, overall, I thought this death segment, I thought it was, eh,
Yeah.
yeah, just kind of not didn't have quite the bite it needed to really go to the.
Let me ask you this, because I don't think I've seen what Jada Pinkett Smith looks like lately. Does she have that much hair now?
No, she has like a really short hair because I know she has like a alopecia.
Alopecia, which I didn't find out until after the Oscars slap thing.
Yeah, like she's been open about it for a while, but yeah, but I think after the slap,
Right, but I had no idea, and I'm like 98% certain Chris Rock had no idea, because like he makes a bald joke. He was like he made the joke about like her being in GI Jane 2, and then
yeah,
Will Smith goes ballistic,
yeah, that was. Oof.
and like Chris Rock, I think obviously not understanding, he goes, "It was a GI Jane joke," and he said that in that tone that where it was just like, "Wait, why are you going so apeshit about this?"
It was.
I think he was assuming that she had shaved her head voluntarily.
Yeah, and then like I think once it came out that they had been separated for like 6 years, like I think a lot of people were like, "Well,
Yeah,
that makes it even worse. Just slapping, you're embarrassing Chris Rock over a woman you're not haven't been with in quite some time."
and then like apparently Jada Pinkett Smith said that it strengthened their relationship. She said that in one of their interviews, or she says that in her book. And again, I if
Oh,
if if like Will Smith could come over to my apartment and use like the Men in Black memory eraser device
uh-huh.
and just remove all knowledge I have about his relationship with Jada Pinkett Smith, I would enjoy that very much.
Yeah, like well, I feel for you, man. This relationship don't seem like
I
the best,
I
but
I don't want to know any of this. I feel like these brain cells could be going to better use
yeah,
somehow.
like I could use these brain cells to like learn how to play guitar or speak Spanish or something. Like I don't think I need to know.
Exactly. I could have understood so much more of last night's SNL.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, look, even if this was replaced with other celebrity gossip, if it was like about two celebrities I have more of an interest in,
Wow. Wow.
you know, that would be fine.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Like I'd like to hear more about to pick two names at random. The marriage of Christopher Guest and Jamie Lee Curtis. They both seem like very cool people.
Now you're
Let me hear
talking.
about them.
Now you're
Let me
talking.
hear about them. What's
Yeah.
going on with them?
What? Yeah.
Like he's an English lord or something, I think. So
Is he
let's
really?
hear about that. He's got some sort of title. Yes.
Nigel Tufnell? English Lord?
Nigel Tufnell, yeah. Okay, let me do some googling on that.
Oh wow. All right. So while you Google, yeah, weekend update, not the strongest.
He is the fifth Baron Hayden Guest.
Woo!
It's a hereditary British peerage, and he has publicly expressed a desire to see the House of Lords reformed as a democratically elected chamber. So yeah, go Christopher Guest.
Oh,
And because he has that peerage. Jamie Lee Curtis as his wife has, I guess she is the Baroness.
oh
I would
wow.
assume.
Laurie Strode, Baroness. I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
Very nice. Okay. Yeah, wow. I would love to hear more about that rather than
When using this title, he is normally styled as Lord Hayden Guest. So
mm,
he was initially active in the House of Lords, but his career there was cut short by the House of Lords Act 1999, which removed the right of most hereditary peers to a seat in the Parliament. So, okay.
okay. All right, go on, Christopher Guest.
His dad was a British United Nations diplomat.
Hmm.
See, isn't this already much more interesting than Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith?
Really is. I'm
Yeah,
captivated, glued to my seat.
yeah,
But yeah, weekend update, wasn't the strongest.
yeah.
Yeah. So next up, we got Protective Mom 2, bringing back the Protective Mom character from the Pedro Pascal episode.
I mean, were we clamoring for this to be revisited?
I think so. I'll tip my hat a little bit. I actually, it's weird because like this was a sketch where they kind of went through the same beats, and I
Yeah, I
know.
don't remember liking the first one that much.
Oh, maybe that's why you probably didn't like this one.
Yeah.
But like I'll admit, I kind of like this one. But
Okay. All right.
I will say it's probably mostly because of Pedro Pascal's performance in it.
I mean, yeah, Pedro Pascal was good in it. I just didn't find it terribly funny as a sketch, and also it was just like it seemed like another bit of desperation where it's like, oh well, what are we gonna do? Well, let's put the host in drag. It seemed like another crutch to me.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, so on this one, it's basically Marcelo is bringing his girlfriend, played by Chloe Trost this time, not Chloe
Hmm.
Feynman, different Chloe. And
Yeah.
I actually noticed like a few people say that Chloe Trost was wearing like a wig in this sketch, and a lot of people said, "Oh, she kind of looks like Cecily Strong with that wig on," and like
Yeah, I saw that before I watched the show this morning, and
I could see it.
I I could kind of see it, but I was like, oh, she doesn't look that much
I
like uh,
yeah,
like Cecily. But yeah, several people on Twitter were saying that today.
yeah, I can kind of see it. So Marcelo brings his girlfriend to meet his aunt, played by
Hmm.
Bad Bunny in drag, of course. And then, I think Marcella's like, "Oh, it's a good thing you're meeting my aunt. She's way nicer than my mom." And of course, that's when Pedro comes out as the mother character again that he played in the Pedro Pascal episode. And yeah, I will admit, Pedro, I think, did a pretty good job here, like really hamming it up and whatnot. My favorite part, and that's why I put it out on the Twitter, is when
The GIF you used,
yes,
yes,
yes, the Twitter gif where uh, Chloe Trost brought some cookies to
yeah,
the house to to say hello, and of course like, oh, cookies, so thoughtful of you not to make them yourself. And of course she brings the cookies, which is one of those butter cookies that's in like
yeah, that are in the round tins. Yeah.
the blue round tin. And of course
Hmm.
she takes the butter cookie tin over to the garbage, opens the garbage lid, pours out the cookies in the garbage while staring directly at Chloe. Which I don't.
Yeah.
There's something hilarious to me about that, where you're doing something very disrespectful and staring the
Mhm.
person right in the eyes as you do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So she pours out the cookies in the trash, and then she puts all the sewing, knitting needles and yarn into the.
I did like that he had all the sewing apparatus just sitting there, and he just sweeped all those in there, and like this is what this is for.
Yeah.
This is enough for cookies.
Yeah, yeah, because like that is a thing in Latina houses, which is actually my sister texted me earlier, but hand to say, oh, you should mention this on the podcast. It is totally what Grandma Camilla did. Yeah, because like our grandma did this too, where
Oh yeah, yeah. That's a big grandma thing.
yeah, like
Yeah.
the tin that the butter cookies come in after you're done eating all the cookies, that becomes like
Hmm.
storage for knitting, and
Yeah, because they're very durable.
yeah, and you could tell the audience got that too because there was a huge pop at
Yeah,
once they did that.
it was going over big. I will give it that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, then we hit sort of a lot of the same beats that we did in the Pedro Pascal episode when he hosted, where Chloe's talking about how Marcelo had, like I helped him get through depression. And then the mom was very upset, saying he doesn't have depression. He just likes the dark,
Yeah.
which I thought was a pretty funny line. And yeah, and it's
Yeah, I just thought the sketch was pretty interminable personally,
oh
but
wow,
like I
interminable.
said, I didn't like the first one that much. Um,
Okay, that's probably why.
and just we're relying on another celebrity cameo appearance. We're putting the host in drag. It just all I could see was the crutches.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. Like I would say I did like this sketch, but yeah, it's not because of Bad Bunny. It's more because Pedro was doing a lot of the heavy
Oh
lifting.
no, yeah, Pedro was totally in the driver's seat
Yeah,
because it was
yeah.
like, oh, here's my aunt, and then it's like, oh, and my mother's home too. I wasn't expecting my mother to be home, huh? And now it's all about the mother again. So
Yeah, yeah. So maybe I just like this because of the mom. So, but like I will say this.
you just like Pedro Pascal.
Yes, that's it. I like
Yeah,
Pedro Pascal. So
yeah,
I will say for me, this was the sketch of the night. I think I like this mainly because, like I said, Pedro Pascal. They had some good lines in there, like when Pedro makes fun of Chloe's deviated septum
yeah,
piercing, and he's like, and she says, "Yes, I have piercings too, septum, putting them up here in my ears where they belong." Like lines like
yeah.
that. I was like, all right, that's kind of clever. So, but yeah, but then it hits the same beats as the last sketch where
Yeah,
Chloe.
I'm also not a big fan of when they, more or less repeat an old sketch beat for beat.
It's well, see, that's the thing. Like for me, I don't like that either. Like, but for some
Mhm.
reason, I'll give this one a pass because it still kind of works. I'm trying. I've been trying to figure out why. Like, yeah, I will admit.
Does it though?
I think so. Well, it doesn't work for you because the first time they did
Yeah,
it
no,
didn't
it
work
didn't
for
work
you.
for
But
me.
like the first
Yeah.
time they did it worked for me, so this still works for me. And I'm
Okay.
trying,
All
but
right.
I admit I'm trying to figure out why I'll give this one a pass, but like other sketches that do the same thing over, I won't. Like it's. I think.
I don't think you have to analyze it that much. I mean,
What,
you found it funny the first time, you found it funny the second time, and it's mostly carried by the performances. So
yeah, I will.
people like the performances. So
Yeah, I will admit that. Like I think Marcelo and Pedro, and I'll say Trost does a good job too, in this
mhm.
sketch to help carry this thing to the finish line. So yeah, I'll give this sketch a thumbs up.
Okay, all right. Next, we have another pre-tape, which is on YouTube as Subway Platform,
Mm.
but the title they give on screen is The Right Track, which I don't understand why SNL does this. I'm like, either just title it Subway Platform on screen or title it The Right Track on YouTube.
Yeah, that's weird.
Why do you put one title on screen and put it up on YouTube as another? Anyway, it just they do that a lot, and I don't get why.
It's very bizarre. I have no
It's
idea.
weird. Um, so we've got Devin and James Wilson Johnson, and Devin tracks him down on a subway platform. Very impressive subway
Yeah,
platform
yeah,
set,
yeah.
by the way.
Pre-tape.
Yeah, I mean, uh, yeah, and it's obviously once again with Will Smith, it's obviously very much like the Will Smith movie, The Pursuit of Happiness,
Yes. Yeah,
where he's the homeless guy, but he's like trying to get a job in the finance industry. I've never seen that movie. I know he was like sleeping in a public restroom at one point
yeah, yeah.
with his
Like,
young son.
yeah, it's pretty rough. Like he's trying to sell this type of machines, and it's just like him, just really crying and just really sleeping in bathrooms. It's rough.
Yeah, yeah. And so like Devin, he tracks down the big finance guy, and he's like, "Hey, I'm one of the applicants for this position at your company." And he's like, "Well, here's the thing. I don't have an address right now. I've been living in my car for a few months." And James Lawson John's like, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that." And he's like, "Yeah, well, it was either pay rent or pay for business school." So,
Right. Yeah. So
and
yeah. So I mean, basically, it's Devin and James Austin Johnson playing it very straight, very dramatic,
mhm,
and but that's not where the comedy is coming from. The comedy is coming from the fact that in the subway car behind them, all these
mhm.
hijinks are going on, and it's like, oh, this is basically a reworking of the Waffle House sketch from the Jenna Ortega episode,
Yeah,
as we could
yeah,
see. Like to the point that like Mikey Day's character, who was like the shirtless dude with cornrows, is in this sketch too, as a
yeah,
shirtless dude who's wearing like a Yankees cap, a bubble goose jacket, and just carrying a box of Captain Crunch.
yeah, yeah. And yeah, that was it was it was the same format as that sketch where it was just like a straight sort of dramatic or serious scene happening in the foreground and then all sorts of wacky outrageous stuff happening in the background. There's
Yeah,
just people going nuts on the subway car behind them. They're dealing with a rat. Keenan's a flasher.
yeah. Bowen
um,
sits on a seat, but the seat's wet, and of course,
yeah.
then you have the Showtime dancers that happen on the
Hmm.
subway that accidentally kick somebody in the face. But
Yeah.
yeah, like I said, there's a huge rat on the subway, and everybody freaks out. At one point, Ego kicks the rat; it lands on the head of a child.
Yes, yes. They eventually trap the rat in a bag, and then Punky is like beating it to death against the
Yeah,
window.
like a Dwayne Reed bag.
Yeah.
And yeah, then they throw the bag out. Somebody else looks on the platform, looks into the bag, and the rat jumps on them, and the people freaks
Hmm.
out. So yeah, just a bunch of because basically subways are the Waffle Houses of the North, as we all know.
You heard it here first, folks.
Right.
Subway houses are Waffle Houses of the North.
Yes, I said it. I said what I said.
Um, I like this one. This was sketch of the night for me because I didn't love it, but I thought it was all right. And on an episode like this week's, all right is like just an oasis in the desert. I was like,
Yeah,
okay, I find this sketch mildly amusing. Yay!
yeah. I thought the sketch.
I've
Yeah. But
Yeah, I was just so happy to have something I responded to a little bit.
yeah, I thought the sketch was pretty funny. Like, I mean, it wasn't as funny as the first time I saw it, just because like the
No.
first time you see it, it's just such a brand new thing, and it comes out of
I
left
mean, yeah,
field.
Waffle House was very unexpected, and that was based on a viral video. I don't think this one was. Um,
Yeah, no, no,
yeah,
no.
so I mean, once I realized what they were doing, yeah, I knew the beats of it. I was kind of expecting the ending to be a little different. I was expecting, for some reason, I was expecting them to go really dark at the end because,
Wow.
like, Devin and James's scene ends where he's like, "Okay, well, I'm going to hire you. You start on Monday at 8," and Devin's like, "I'll be there at 7, sir," and and then we see James Austin Johnson get on the train, and then he runs into Keenan's flasher character,
Right.
and I was for some reason I was expecting him to like walk on the platform, walk off the platform, and get run over by a train or something like that. I was for some reason I was expecting some like really ultra dark ending,
Uh,
and I don't know why,
yeah, no, I get it. I get it. I
but I was expecting the rug to be pulled out from under Devin's character somehow.
yeah, no, I
Um,
get it. Like, it did have a tone that it could get super dark, super
yeah,
quick, but I guess maybe they didn't want to go that route, or maybe it didn't make much sense to go that dark at
yeah,
the end.
yeah.
So they just ended with him in the same car as Keenan's flasher no pants character.
Yeah, which was fine. I don't think it was as strong as the Waffle House ending where we find out that the wacky guy inside was like Jenna Ortega's dad.
Yeah, yeah, that was a stronger ending than.
That was a stronger, less expected ending.
Yeah, for sure.
Although I guess this ending was also unexpected since I didn't call it right. So I don't know what I'm talking about,
It's a
people.
different type of unexpected, but yeah, overall, I thought the
Yeah,
sketch was
exactly.
pretty good.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. This was definitely sketch of the night for me.
all right, let's get in the convent meeting. Ooh,
Do we have to?
yeah, this was the sketch I meant with the.
This was dire.
Uh,
This was. Oh my god.
yeah, so this sketch was basically like all the female and female presenting, I guess, characters on the show, or they're nuns at a convent. They all get called down
Yeah,
for a meeting, and basically one of the nuns is a man in disguise having sex with all the nuns, and of course
he's
he's
like seducing all the nuns, and yeah, the Mother Superior, played by Molly, has found out about this and trying to get to the bottom of it.
yeah,
And we kind of quickly we go through the room, and we discover that all the nuns have been like hooking up with the Bad Bunny nun character,
yeah,
and they're enjoying it.
yeah.
Um,
A lot of sexual innuendo in the sketch, a lot of horny talk, and like, oh,
yeah,
he can repent me over the table, and
yeah.
play with my rosary beads.
I don't know. I like first off, I feel like a whole sketch about just seducing nuns and them enjoying it. I feel like that's in kind of questionable taste. I don't know why that. I wouldn't say it had offended me. That's kind of overstating it, but I was like, ugh, I kind of wish we weren't going there.
Yeah,
You know?
no, I get it. I get it. It's a little off-putting. Like, I think even at one point when Molly calls everybody down for the meeting, saying, "Oh, we
Yeah.
have a problem," and then Sarah, who's one of the nuns, says, "Oh my God, did you find my Cain and Abel fanfic?" I was like, "Oh, I, yeah." That left me kind of with a gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot
I
of.
don't know. Maybe I've just never gotten the whole sexy nun thing
Oh,
personally.
yeah.
You
No,
know,
I mean, I guess.
I know that's a fetish,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to kink shame anywhere, but it's always seemed an odd one to me.
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess there's for a lot of people, there's something about like desecrating something so pure or tempting
Yeah, I mean,
somebody away
I get
from
the
the Lord.
look. I get it. I get the whole forbidden fruit appeal thing, but I'm like, people, Catholic schoolgirls are right there. Yeah.
Oh my God! Wow, this is a hot episode. Yeah. So this guy, I mean, this,
So yeah,
yeah. So
just ugh.
yeah, I mean, the material in the sketch is kind of questionable, and also the fact that this is a sketch I was talking about where like it becomes more and more apparent that English isn't Bad Bunny's first language, because he's kind of tripping over some of his lines here, and
Uh huh.
kind of stumbling over his dialogue, like even to the point where when he's saying some things, like even the audience kind of is having a hard time understanding him. They're going like, what was that he
yeah. I
said?
mean, he does have his accent's on the thick side, I suppose. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah, it's all thick.
yeah,
Yeah, and it's and then of course again it's like a lot of nuns making sexual innuendo jokes about ringing
yeah.
the bell
I
with
don't.
his penis, or
Yeah, and saying ding dong, and yeah,
yeah, or he can call me Joey Chestnut with, by the way I gobble down the wieners. I was like, this sounds like a sketch from like the '80s or something. Like it sounds so.
yeah.
I don't know. This sound. And yeah, but then it's revealed that it's not Bad Bunny sleeping with all the nuns. It's actually Mick Jagger who comes out dressed as a nun, saying, "Yes, it is I,
Well, half dressed as a nun.
half dressed."
He's wearing like the habit, and then like he's not wearing the full robes, and I'm just like, why can we see his arms? Is that a nun?
Yeah,
Like regalia? Is that
yeah, and then of course,
do any nuns dress like that?
I don't
I
know.
know like most nuns these days they don't really dress in the big black and white habits anymore.
Hmm.
But for the sake of comedy, yeah, sure, okay,
Yeah, absolutely. And then it's Mick Jagger coming out, playing it big again, be like, "Yes, I'm the one seducing the nuns and
yeah,
ringing the bell with my penis, making it go ding dong."
yeah, yeah, and it's like, oh, they were saying Our Father, and now they're crying, Oh God, and I'm like,
Uh,
shouldn't. First of all, I was like, wouldn't it be funnier if like they were saying Our Father, and now they're saying Oh Daddy? Wouldn't that be funnier?
it would be, but I guess "Oh God" keeps in with the religious theme.
I don't know.
And
Okay.
yeah, then again, maybe it's another thing that I felt weird because, like you said, like Mick Jagger's almost 80, but we're still kind of playing it like he's this big sex symbol, and all these every woman wants to hump him.
Yeah,
I was like,
it's so funny. Like I just like I think earlier this week I was watching like a video with John Mulaney where he was talking about pitching jokes to Mick Jagger, and he was he pitched a joke to Mick Jagger when he was hosting of like mothers lock up your daughters and daughters lock up your mothers, and then he was like Mick Jagger was like, no, I don't like that, and I'm like, yeah, but this you said yes to, Mick. I don't know. Like by this point in the show, I'm really wondering what the fuck did you cut address? If this is what's making it on air.
yeah, but yeah, so then the sketch ends with all the nuns wanting to get it on with Mick
Right.
Jagger.
Except for Chloe Feynman's character
Yes,
for some reason,
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
who's like the lone holdout.
maybe the sketch was written by her boyfriend. I don't know.
Maybe.
No woman of mine is gonna have sex with Mick Jagger.
Even hypothetically in a comedy sketch.
Yes, exactly. And then the whole thing turns out to be,
No other man
yeah,
can have you.
yeah, you're all mine, fine man. Yeah, and this whole sketch turned out to be a scene from Sister Act 3, now streaming on Peacock. Which I was like, all right.
Against Whoopi's wishes. Yeah.
Yeah, this sketch I thought was a bad sketch.
Yeah, no, I thought this sketch was bad. I thought several of the previous sketches were
Mm.
bad. It was a bad show overall.
Yeah, like I mean the concept of it isn't strong, and it leans too heavy on cheeky, horny humor, and I was like,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I was a little skeeved out just by the premise.
yeah, like
you know?
especially the part where Mick's like, come on, girls, I feel the second coming. I was like, ew,
Yeah. Yeah.
Grandpa,
Ooh.
stop!
Exactly. Exactly.
You're embarrassing me in front of my friends.
It would have worked better if, like, Mick was still in his 40s or even his 50s at this point.
Yeah,
But I don't particularly want to consider Mick Jagger as a sexual being anymore.
yeah, like I'm sure somebody.
I also don't particularly want to consider nuns as sexual beings
Yeah,
because that kind of goes against the spirit of being a nun,
yeah, this takes two things I don't find sexy and puts them together.
Exactly.
Ay caramba.
So
Uh,
yeah, I kind of want to take a shower after this one.
yeah, just take a shower and cry.
Wash the grime off.
Never clean, never clean. Oof, oof. And
Fortunately, not the last sketch of the night.
no,
Lastly, we have a sketch called Enrique's Daughter.
yeah, this is a little slice of life sketch. This one. This
I guess,
I would
sure.
say so. Yeah, this one takes place at the corporate offices of Burt's Bees.
Burt's Bees, and Mikey is running the meeting. Again, big show for Mikey Day,
Yeah. Oof.
talking about how their company's being taken over, and they're going to be restructured
Yeah.
as companies are often done. And he's going around the room of everybody in the office and saying like, okay, we got to prepare for this meeting with
Yeah.
the new bosses. What's the stuff we want to bring up? And Bad Bunny's character Enrique is like, hey, I have an announcement. My daughter's getting married.
Right. And it's like, oh, that's great, Enrique. That's great. And then they go back to the meeting saying, how they're being acquired by Jurgens. This might mean
Yeah,
layoffs, so we need to really focus here. But
right.
Enrique keeps kind of raising his hat. Oh, can I say one more thing? Like his
Yeah.
name's Jeff.
He,
He's a really good
he
guy.
keeps steering the conversation back to his daughter's engagement.
Exactly. Yeah, and
And that's pretty much it.
kinda, yeah. But then they break off into pairs, and the group's trying to figure out ideas how they're going to approach the meeting they have with Jurgens, and of course
Yeah.
it's Bowen and Ego talking about what they bring to Burt's Bees, and Enrique talking to Keenan about her daughter's fiance, saying, see, they were friends when they were kids, but then they like
Right.
reconnected. and,
Yeah.
then like
And then when Mikey calls on him again, he's like, "Okay, do we have a decision?" And Enrique and Keenan are like, "Well, the big decision is, are we going to get a band or a DJ
Yeah,
for the wedding?"
yeah, just
So
basically straight steering it back to the wedding. And like I did
yeah.
like the part where Mikey asked Enrique, like, Enrique, so what were our overhead for the past 4 quarters? He's like, I don't know, don't
Hmm.
ask me. He's like, well, you're our accountant, bud. You gotta know what.
Yeah.
And I did like the line about how we're Burt's Bees. We take bees and grind them up and turn them into chapsticks. That's what people love us. Like the whole like
Yeah, that was a cute sort of random detail.
yeah,
I
because I mean
I like
I've
that.
seen Burt's Bees in a ton of stores. I'm assuming it's called Burt's Bees because it's made out of like some nectar or
Beeswax.
bees. Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
What were you thinking?
I don't honey. I don't know. Next, some
Yeah, I
or
mean,
ground up bees.
maybe look. We didn't do a whole lot of research on Burt's Bees before we started recording today, and that's on us.
Yeah.
We apologize. We know you come to this podcast for
For
SNL critiques,
yes.
accurate information about Burt's Bees, little fun bits of trivia about Christopher Guest and Jamie Lee Curtis,
That was good.
and summaries of Star Trek: The Next Generation episodes in 8 Mile.
Of course.
That is our brand.
Of course. But yeah, and like you said, that's pretty much the sketch. It ends with them needing to rally together about the new merger, but they seem more interested in rallying around Enrique and him being happy that his daughter's getting married, and of course, then
Yeah.
Enrique mentions that. Can I say one more thing? My son's having a baby, and everybody's happy, and then that's it.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad, but
Well, again, this was another one I was just like, how did this get past dress?
yeah,
I just didn't find it terribly funny. So
yeah, it had a few things here and there, and I will say, I think this might have been the sketch that Bad Bunny did the best at. Like
mhm.
I was able to kind of understand everything he
Yeah.
said, and which I guess that's the bar. But like, I didn't mean to be this salty. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, that's look. That's where the bar is for this week's show.
I feel like such an asshole. I'm so sorry. But yeah, but I did think he did a decent job in this sketch. All the other sketches
Yeah,
was kind
yeah.
of
I would say I don't think the material was that all that great, but
it wasn't super strong. Yeah, but it was all right.
I mean it's not a big thing to turn a sketch on, is it?
Not really.
He keeps redirecting the conversation to his daughter's wedding. That's it. That's the gag.
Yeah, yeah,
And
and
I don't know. Maybe if it built more, and he kept changing the topic to more increasingly irrelevant topics or something. But
yeah, there wasn't a lot of escalation. I will admit that. That's probably the
yeah,
big flaw in this one. And
I don't know.
yeah, that's our episode, guys. Bad Bunny. Yeah. It happened.
Yep, this is a thing that occurred.
It
I did think I will say one thing that I noticed during the good nights that I thought was pretty cute was Marcel still had lipstick on his cheek
oh
at the good nights from the protective mom sketch.
yes, because in that sketch, uh, Pedro Pascal does kiss him on the cheek as as a
Hmm.
lipstick mom, and he does have that lipstick mark on his cheek throughout the entire sketch. And yeah, he had it on.
Yeah,
I guess he just never washed his face after that sketch.
I mean, why would you? I
Yeah.
mean, Pedro Pascal, he's dreamy.
uh,
So,
yeah, but yeah, overall, yeah, I don't think
pretty dire episode.
it.
Yeah,
I don't think
not a good one.
I didn't hate it as much as you did, but I will admit, yeah, it wasn't the strongest. I don't think Bad Bunny is the strongest host. The fact that they needed to sort of, you know, pad it with all these, celebrity cameos is kind of telling. Um,
Yeah, I mean that just shows that I don't want to say they didn't have confidence in the host, but they realized they needed some help. They needed some crutches.
yeah, but it's good to see Marcelo get an episode with tons of screen time. That was cool.
Yeah, that was nice. That was nice.
Yeah, and I will.
Because he is usually underserved by the show.
Yeah,
Still, so
and I will admit I did like the Protective Mom 2 sketch a little bit more than you did, just because I think
yeah, you definitely did.
yeah, but just because like Pedro really did some heavy lifting there. But yeah, overall, not my favorite episode, I'd say.
No, no, certainly not for me either.
Mm-hmm. But
Um,
let's go to the Twitter and see what the people
let's see what the people
see what
say.
the people
Did they
say.
like it more than us?
Let's see. Let's see. All right, so yeah, we put the word out on the Twitter sphere. We got three tweets. We got our good friend
Yeah.
Monette Moratti
Yes.
saying "Donde está la biblioteca?"
Yes.
Mostly, I felt like Punky in the telenovela sketch, but the fact the joke still got through is a testament to the writers and performers that had to speak it. Also, did we see Lauren testing the waters for Mick and the Rolling Stones for a Christmas show? Hmm.
Uh, that would be fun. That would be a kick, I think.
I mean, they're still promoting the album.
Yeah,
I could.
yeah. I don't think that would be outside the window. And Mick did host the show a number of years ago. It was Kristen Wiig's last show, as I recall, because I remember him serenading her with Ruby Tuesday,
Yeah. So
and she's a rainbow
she is a
on her
rainbow.
at the end of the night. So might be fun to see Mick host again.
Yeah, absolutely. And we just got a tweet from Nick Store at Nick Store saying,
Yeah, Nick Store said this had its best three sketches just before update. So let's
"Hmm,
see, let's go back to okay, just before update. That would be the Please Don't Destroy sketch, the telenovela sketch, and the Age of Discovery sketch. Um, and Nick says the Columbus sketch was the sketch of the night. Great to have Oz direct.
oh,
Followed closely followed by Please Don't Destroy, but Punky was the VIP. The Waffle House Part 2 and Protective Mom Part 2 didn't do it for me.
ooh."
The cold open felt like they wrote it at 7 p.m.
Yes, I will agree that the cold open seemed that was pretty. It was pretty weak.
Well, I mean, that was the most topical thing we saw. So because I think the Jim Jordan thing about him not running for speaker again, I think that broke on
Yeah,
Friday.
so maybe they did write it at
So
7 p.m.
well, yeah, I mean, obviously, the cold open is where you get the most topical on the show.
Right.
So it wouldn't surprise me if they broke that on the late side.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. So the cold open was mm, not the strongest. And
yeah, I thought the cold open was just though. I didn't find it actively bad like a lot of the other sketches. So
yeah, I'll give you that. And then somebody at Rojas M17 Mro said a couple of Puerto Rican comedy references. LMAO. It didn't quite get
I'm
me.
not sure what there was outside of the joke in the monologue.
Yeah, the Samdo
I
Gigante.
mean, if there were any others, they went over my head.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Let us know what they were, Emro, because let
Yeah,
these gringos know what's up.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the episode.
Almost certain you're not a gringo, but okay,
Oh yeah, I see, I see.
that's our word.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I didn't mean appropriate it. And that's the episode, and that's our episode, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks again for listening, as always, to the SNL Nerds podcast. As always, you can follow us
Hmm.
on Twitter because we refuse to call it X at SNL Nerds Show. You could donate to our Patreon, patreon.com. And as always, you could follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and Blue Sky and Spill and Threads at Darren Credible. That's DARIN Credible.
Yes, and you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram and Blue Sky at Trumbull Comic. That's TRUMBULL and the word comic.
Yeah, so that's our episode. And next week, the 28th, Nate Bargatze and the Fighters of the Foo.
Yes.
Very excited for that one.
Gotta be better, right?
It's gotta. There's nowhere to go but up, baby.
Yeah.
We can't sink any further.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been terribly impressed with either of the shows so far this season, so I'm hoping that in episode 3 they get their sea legs back.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, the first few episodes of the start of every season is usually kind of wobbly, and it's not until the middle that's when they get their footing. So I'm hoping that they get their footing this next episode for sure.
Yeah, I look, if nothing else, we'll see some good stand up in the monologue. So,
yes, we'll see,
and that's always fun.
We'll see that handheld mic, baby.
Yeah,
that's right.
That always tickles me so much.
Pretty great.
I mean, last week we had Pete Davidson like literally on stage at home base, giving that heartfelt intro, and then when it's time for the monologue, he gets a hand mic.
Yep.
Love it. All right, so that's next week with Nick Bargatze and the Foo Fighters, and we will be back here next Monday to tell you what we thought of that, and hopefully we'll think better of it. So, but until then, nerds out.
This has been a non-productive media presentation. Executive producer Frank Hablawi. This program and many others like it on the Non-Productive Network is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives license. Please share it, but ask before trying to change it or sell it. For more information, visit non-productive.com.